Hey guys, welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today we're going to be getting into bees and producing some royal jelly in preparation for getting ourselves some of that growth essence. So today is going to be all about bees and how to get the royal jelly. That is one of the few steps that we're going to need in order to be able to upgrade to the tier 5 seeds, and it also unlocks a few other things later on down the road. So we're definitely going to need to get through this. Now, it's actually really easy. And I say that not joking. I've actually learned a lot about bees over the past few years. And it's really easy when you have forestry and gendistry in a pack together. Gendistry is a beast all in its own, and it is going to, we're pretty much going to skip almost all of the grindy parts of bee breeding, and it's really powerful. Gendistry is a very powerful mod. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So I have a few of the items over here bookmarked, but there's a lot of stuff in Gendistry. You can see here is all kinds of different stuff. Forget all about this. There we go. There's Gendistry. So we have mutagen, and all this lovely stuff. We have genetic waste, which we'll talk about later on, genetics labware, but then you have your main machines down here, like an industrial apiary, which is actually what we're going to be using probably right off the bat. Let's go ahead and worry about this scooper though. And we're also going to need to think about these few materials. Bronze. Bronze is something we're going to need a lot of. Like, I'm not joking. Like, bronze is that material that is used so much. So we're going to need some copper and tin, right? So let's actually just let's do 3 stacks of copper, because it is 3 to 1. 3 stacks of copper. We'll make sure to put this in alloy mode, and we'll make sure to throw these 2 in, and we'll make sure to feed that. And that's going to start producing tons and tons of bronze for us. It's going to be very, very much required. We're going to need like tons of this stuff. Now, I do believe there is a bronze seed. A lot of these alloys do have seeds for them. Let's see. Yes. So there is a bronze seed that is of tier 4, which is very accessible at this point. I went ahead and I made quite a few seeds. One of the few seeds that I think I'm really going to like is the Grains of Infinity seed, which is also, I think, a tier 2 seed, which is super accessible. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and let this produce. Look at that. There's already tons of it ready to go. And the first thing we need to do is, of course, make a scooper. And then I'm going to go ahead and make the Scooperator MX200 Turbo. This guy is going to be really nice for us. I'm also going to make a couple pistons. To be honest, we probably need several pistons, because today is just going to be a lot of machines we need to make. But this is one part. This is just a power module. Simple. And then we can get started. So, let's see. I think we have everything for that. Power module. And then we can go ahead and make our scooper. The scooper's going to need a little bit of power, so let's go ahead and feed that. Will it accept power from our wired charger? It doesn't seem like it will. It says charges 0. What else could charge this? The wired charger should totally... Okay, so this is showing EU only? Well, if that's the case, we are probably not going to use it, because I don't think so. Let's see. We do have a power converter. At least I thought we did. No, that's a different thing. So yeah, I guess this is specifically related to EU power. Power tier 2 on EU. Ugh. Oh well, we can just make a bunch of scoops. Scoops are going to work just as well. At least we have this thing for later on down the road if we need it. So, good old-fashioned scoops are going to work for us just the same. So we're going to need a few of these. And we just need to go around and break some of these hives. Now, it's probably best we have a smoker, because yeah, you see that? We're going to take some damage. A smoker is going to prevent that. So, good old-fashioned smoker. I think it's just like a flint and steel in the center. Yeah. And with this, we can put it in our offhand. And so right before we go to break it, we can just smoke one of these guys. And we don't get attacked. How nice is that? So we're going to need a few things. As you can see, I have a few bees that are listed up here. These are some of the main bees that are going to go through our tree line. The main thing is going to be, of course, our forests and our meadow drones. It doesn't really matter if we have forest princesses or meadows princesses. It doesn't really matter. Just as long as we get both forests and meadows together, that's going to be the only thing that really matters too much to me. So I'm just going to go through here. There's tons of hives, and I'm also going to be sticking to the plains specific biomes. The main reason is because our base is located in one, and I don't want to have to make extra modifiers to be able to support bees that are not standard to this climate. So that's something that you do need to keep in mind. Try to stick with hives that are in the same biome you're in. That will make your life way easier. So now that we have everything set up, I went ahead and made the machine. So we have our mutagen producer. I do not recommend you just making the mutatron. I recommend making the advanced one. It's just a next tier up. It is going to be way better than you dealing with the base mutatron, which works, but it's not exactly the same as this. It doesn't let you pick, and it doesn't guarantee a 100% chance like this does. So I went ahead and put some redstone blocks over here. This is going to produce 900 mutagen for us, which is going to build up fairly quickly. As you can see, it's just going to require some power. Now, these are also going to require some power, and you can see right here, there's no queen, and the energy required is going to be 20, and we have no upgrades in here. So let's go ahead and take our bees that we just gathered. We're going to need a few of them. I'm going to go ahead and go with our pristine stock. So I have Meadows Pristine. We have our Meadows drone here. And then I need to find, if we have one, a pristine stock of our princess of our forest. Both of these are fairly nice. So I should be able to throw this in here. With this, that's going to combine it. We should also be able to throw this in here with one of these. That should combine as well. And we should be left with this. Now, it is saying it is not bright enough. It is not daytime. Our sky is obstructed. So I think there is a modifier that lets us do this. So take a look at Gendustry. We should have a light upgrade. And this is what I really want to start working on. So a light upgrade is going to be something we need. We have these indoors. So I'm going to need them on technically all three, because bees like light. At least the early game ones do. So here we go. We can even go as far as making all three. And if we throw a light upgrade in here, it should eventually upgrade this and say, all right, the sky, it doesn't matter if it's obstructed or not. Let's just see if that's the case. We have the plains emulation. Let's see, emulation, dry, automate. If anything, we could just move these outside. But that should... open sky upgrade as well. So there's the other one we need. So we need light and open sky. Open sky upgrade. There we go. And open sky. So that should fix our issue with it saying there's not an open sky. Perfect. Look at that. They're ready to go. So this is going to start working, and you can see the bees are just going crazy here. I did go ahead and plant some flowers. They usually do require this even still. It will tell you that it's going to need this. So I just placed some grass and placed some flowers. These guys are going to start going crazy. Some other upgrades I want to make is the automation upgrades. So automation on all of these machines is going to be definitely a thing. And lifespan upgrades are definitely going to be a thing. Are we really out of brown mushrooms? Oh well. We'll worry about the lifespan one later. The automation one is definitely the one that we want right now. So the automation is just going to save us some time. So we don't, like, whenever this finishes, we don't have to worry about automatically replanting and putting a new drone in here. And all this is going to do is going to generate some drones for us. And you can already see this one's starting to produce honeycombs, which is wonderful. Now that we have these guys set up, we can kind of start looking at some other things. Now, unfortunately, we can't just go, all right, I'm going to place this here and place this here, right? That's going to give us a common queen. But it's ignoble stock. That's kind of what I want to have not happen, right? And I think I want my common to come from these guys, since these are the pristine stock. It's not going to matter too much. You know what? We can go ahead and try it. Let's just do it for an example. So I'll do this. This is going to give me an ignoble stock because it is one of our ignobles. But you see, we can select this. It's going to give us a 100% chance of us getting this drone. Look at that. It's a common queen, right? So we should be able to throw the common queen over here. It's telling us it's got everything. There we go. And so all we got to do is let this produce, and this is going to give us, it's going to start just producing, and it should eventually give us some drones that are common drones. This is the whole process you have to start going with. So I recommend getting these going right away, because our tier is to eventually get an Imperial Princess. To do this, we're going to need a Noble Princess. That's going to be a common and a cultivated. To get a cultivated drone, it's a common and a forest together. You can see it's a common princess and a forest. That'll get us a cultivated. But like I said, it's going to take a little bit of time for us to do this. So I'll be back once we get a couple drones. Yeah, and I mean, the lifespan upgrades, I think we're just missing mushrooms. Yeah, I can actually make mushrooms. So I'm going to go ahead and get some lifespans on here. That'll just make the lifespan a bit shorter. And these guys will work a lot faster. So now that my first set has been processed, you can see when they're a princess and not a queen, they'll have they won't have a gold crown on top of their head. And that means we can now breed these guys. And so there's a specific thing that I'm trying to do. Right here, I have another common, I have another common. I just simply made those from our base princesses and forest princesses, or meadows and forest princesses. And that's what we were able to come up with. So I think there's a couple of different ways that you can get these. You can see that you can combine these with several different things to get commons, if you so feel like that's a thing. But luckily, our common here produced 2 drones. This is a pretty good common, since it is producing extra drones. Most likely, these are going to produce drones as well. You can see we now have this one that is ready to go, and I'm going to go ahead and pop this one back in here as well. This is the lifespan killer right here. I want this to have a short lifespan. That way we can make this a little bit faster. And I had actually just thrown these in, so it's actually going pretty quickly. And we're trying to rush our way to this one. So what do we need to get here? We're going to need a majestic, and we're also need noble. So a noble is going to be pretty simple to get. We need our common princess mixed with a cultivated. The cultivated is going to come from our common and a forest drone. So we should be able to take a common princess, mix it with a forest drone. Now here is where I want to try and use this. This is coming from a pristine stock. And you can see right here, it's still ignoble, but it is still going to produce what we want. This is going to give us a cultivated queen. We want a cultivated queen. And the cultivated queen should give us pretty good output. I know this one is definitely giving us 2, so most likely this had adopted the trait that is going to allow it to produce multiple drones, which is what we are going to need, and that will be done over here in this apiary. Now, there is something else we need. That is just going along this route, right? And the main thing on this one we need is a cultivated drone. We already have our commons. I need to get this majestic over here, which is also going to come from a cultivated drone. So we're probably going to need to do the cultivated drone a couple times. And our noble that we're working towards we're going to need 2 of these. We're going to need 2 noble princesses in order to do this, because our main noble is going to need to make a majestic queen, which is going to come from that cultivated drone. I hope this isn't too confusing, but it's still the same process, which means we're going to need 2 sets of noble queens. Right now, we just have our cultivated, which means when this one finally dies off, I'm going to go ahead and just switch this up. I think we are going to end up with enough commons. I hope. If not, I still think we're going to have enough. I think 3 is going to be enough. If not, it's going to be 4. Which in that case, I'll just need to go find another, just another bee that is going to be a forest. Yeah, I need a forest drone. So they're usually in the trees. I think this biome might actually work. We do have quite a few over here. So I would just pull those out of the trees. And that should work out pretty well. But yeah, you can see this one's almost 80%. So we're pushing pretty well. Now that we get this cultivated, of course, I'm going to run it through, and we're just kind of waiting. But while we're waiting, of course, keep in mind that these are all running as well. So it's all producing resources. So us just waiting around and just kind of watching YouTube videos, kind of hanging out while this is doing a thing. And it's working out perfect. So as I wait for my noble queen to just finish up here, I already have a noble princess ready to go. So all I need to do is take this noble princess and combine it with a cultivated drone, and that should get us a majestic queen. Now we're going to need this majestic queen because that is the final part. All we need is majestic drone and this final noble princess that's going to be produced over here, and we're ready to go. So we just need this, as soon as this one's done right here, we just need this drone. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here, and we're going to have to combine that with this noble princess here, and that is going to get us the royal jelly we need. The Imperial Princess has a 15% chance to drop the royal jelly. Now, keep that in mind, we can increase that by a little bit because there are production upgrades that we can throw on this. And of course, lifespan upgrades will help as well. I believe the lifespan upgrades, actually the lifespan upgrades might not help in this case. We'll want to keep this thing as alive as possible so it has the most production life. But as far as producing drones and stuff, you want to use the lifespan upgrades. We might also use the genetic stabilizer. I don't know for sure if this is going to keep our ignoble stock from dying, but this is most likely going to be an ignoble ignoble imperial princess. Unfortunately, it's just due to, I mean, if we made all of these out of pristine stock, then yeah, that would be perfect. But this isn't exactly the perfect setup for this. But we only need, you know, a little bit of royal jelly over the time. Now, royal jelly is one of those things that is used in making these growth essence right here. Now, I did notice that it is in the Actual Editions Empower and the Fusion. So the Empower right here requires the same materials, except this right here is telling me it needs 5 million RF, and it's a draconic tier crafting recipe. Whereas over here, it's telling me it's just the Empower, and I don't exactly know what the amount of power it requires. It probably is the same. And I'm thinking the drawback is the amount of power that this can only put out, that has a cap on the Empower. So you'll just be stuck crafting this for a lot longer, whereas the Draconic is going to go a lot quicker. This could craft like in a snap of the fingers. So, but our first method will probably be using an Empower to get this, and it's probably just going to take a lot of time. So this guy is already almost done, and then we can make the royal jelly that we set out to do. And this guy is now done. That actually produced 4 drones for us, which is quite nice. So I'm assuming this one probably has like ×3 on the drone production, which is really actually good. So if we remember, we do need this drone, which is great that we got extra, but we need to mix that with an ignoble princess. Noble princess, majestic drone, and we get ourselves an imperial queen that is going to be ignoble stock. Now here is where I'm going to probably pull these guys out once they're done with their automation. I don't think we're going to need that many of these anymore, but I will set the automation up for this, just like so, because this is where that jelly is going to be produced. So here is our Imperial Queen. We throw that in there, and this is going to take some time, but luckily for us, we can actually make some production upgrades after we get some royal jelly. You see that that actually requires royal jelly, which is kind of funny. So potentially our best thing to do here is maybe actually throw, also we might want one of these in here. So this might prevent, I don't think these are stackable. So we might want to throw one of these in here just to make sure that this thing doesn't die. Because of course that would be just really inconvenient, right? It'd be really inconvenient. I think this, it says genetic decay -100% and then energy consumption plus 100%. So basically it's just going to increase the amount of power, doubling the amount of power that is going to be required for this to prevent this thing from dying. Hopefully the genetic decay is telling me that is the case. Now, if you notice, I'm pretty sure when we stand next to this, we get a potion effect of regeneration. Yeah, that's one of the bonuses of having Imperial Queens, and certain bees do give you certain potion effects. This one, in this case, gives you regeneration when you stand near it. Hey, not half bad. Well, as you can see, it seems to be doing pretty good. We get our royal jelly here, and I think we're doing mighty fine. Now, this should have a couple of uses. Looks like the database is one of those that has a use for it. Ambrosia, and of course, production upgrade is all great and all. But, let's see, is there anything else? Getting ourselves into extra bees and things like that. Bees can be a wonderful tool, and has a lot of uses, especially in this pack. There are some really cool bees actually in this pack, because career bees are a thing. Now, I've never really touched career bees. I've not played with that mod too much, so career bees is going to be one of those things that's going to be a little bit different to get into. But just getting this royal jelly is amazing. So this guy should literally just keep producing royal jelly for us. I think I'm going to forget about the lifespan. I think I'm going to take away the light upgrade here, because it's not necessary actually to have the light upgrade. It's bright enough in here for it. And we're going to substitute that with production upgrades. And that should be about it for this guy. We should just be able to let it work. It'll just do its thing, right? Right now we only have enough for 3, unless it produces 1 just here in a little bit. But I think these stack to 4 on the production. Oh, it stacks to 8 on the production. Wow. But right now we can at least throw 3 in there. And this is really going to boost our power usage as well. So this thing is going to start costing us a little bit on power, but that's going to be completely fine. Right now, this guy will give us, what, it's 60% production increase with, of course, a 60% increase in power, along with our 100% increase in power here. And look at that, we already got another royal jelly. I mean, it's definitely well worth using this. That way you'll get the maximum amount of royal jelly that you could use. And of course, it's going to be useful later on. Because believe me, this stuff has a lot of uses. One of those being a garden cloche, which is amazing. Tier 5 crafting seeds require 2 of these. An ender hive, I guess we could just make those. It's going to, require a bit as well. We could eventually just make forest hives. Look at this. We can make forest hives and just place them down with these things, making the bee process a lot easier. Look, we can craft any hive. That would make bees so much easier. And then we also have this, which is a mob dimlet for the Ender Dragon, which to make that is kind of crazy as well. That'll give us a dimension, I guess, that has Ender Dragons in it, which is kind of cool. That's a mob. That's a dimlet. That's used for RF Tools dimensions, which we'll get into. There's a lot to get into with that. So there's a couple of other things that we need to look at. I mean, we have a little bit of time, and we can kind of look at some of the other things that we're going to need in order to make the growth essence. That is the Flux Phyto Grow, which is not too hard. Fertilizer from Actual Editions, and then we also have the Botania that we'll have to get into. We'll get into that in a couple episodes from now. Or actually, probably 2 episodes from now, because Botania is one of my favorite mods. And getting mana powder is super easy. Fertilizer is going to be something that we have to get from our cows, and that's also not a difficult thing either. Getting this thing is super easy. So let's go ahead, and I guess we can just work on this. In order to get fertilizer, we need to put it inside of a compost, and we need biomash. We could get that from carrots, and we need a knife. But it's the knife that is going to be from Actual Editions, which is going to need a knife blade and a knife. Awesome. Handle. There we go. Knife. And this we can combine in here, and that'll give us a lot of this biomash. We have tons of carrots, so like probably the best way to do this. And we're also going to need a composter. That is pretty easy to do, and we're going to need some conduit. And that should be about it. Let's see, we need some chests. And we can set up automation for this pretty easy. We'll just throw this over here. I don't know if you can you place a chest and still access it? You can. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to directly place stuff in and just have it pull out with a conduit. And our conduit system is going to be keep this on green, always active. This is going to be also extract on brown, and this is going to be insert on green. This is going to be insert on brown and extract turned off. So what we can do is put our mash in here. That should build up inside this. And then when this decides to produce its fertilizer, the fertilizer will just go in this chest. That's how simple the automation is for this. And like I said, we just need the biomass in here. But, I mean, that should produce a pretty good quantity. It just takes some time, unfortunately. That's the only thing we have to have going. Now, the other thing was the flux phytogrow. To get phytogrow, we are going to need some slag, it looks like. Or we have sap as well, but this is probably the best way to do it. In order to get slag, we need an induction smelter. And there's a small chance of producing slag, but we will most likely get it. So an induction smelter, not the hardest thing in the world to make. We honestly should have made one a long time ago, but we have a Indurite O alloy furnace, so that kind of makes this a little less useful. So what is that? Silt. We should have everything else. That's just sand. So there's our induction smelter. And like I said, this is just going to be an extension. Let's get a conduit. I'm just going to go ahead and use power. And we'll slap that over here. Extending our power a little bit. Like that. And I'll just put an induction smelter here for right now. Now, this induction smelter, it's going to fill up real quick. We need to kind of look at what's the best for slag. The rich slag is going to be something that we could get. I think you can upgrade this slag to produce rich slag, maybe? No? Of course, this also helps. Let's see. Gold ore. That's usually the best thing. But we do need cinnabar for that. Cinnabar comes from crushing. Is it just destabilized redstone? If so, I think we have some. So we do have some destabilized redstone. What we can do is we can just sag mill this. That has a chance of getting a cinnabar. Quite a high chance, actually. And then we can use that for our gold. I think that'll work. So gold ore. We have quite a bit of that. We're getting ourselves some cinnabar. So remember cinnabar and then the gold ore. That'll produce, and that should get us rich slag. Perfect, right? Also need to go ahead and unconfigure that so that way it just builds up in here. Yeah, and that's how you get rich slag. So that step is pretty much covered. And we need to take that rich slag, mix that with some sawdust, or I guess charcoal and niter. And we can get that from, I believe niter, yeah, it comes from sandstone. So we could of course take some sandstone and pulverize that up as well. We might actually have some. Do we? I don't see any in our inventory. But like I said, it's just another thing that it shouldn't be too difficult to get a hold of. Now, fertilizer, this comes from a sewage composter. Now, we need to fill the sewage composter with sewage. This is also another machine that should be pretty simple for us to do or to get. We need a sewage composter, and we also need a animal sewer. So animal sewer, what is this? Bricks. And we're also going to need a sewage composter. There we go. Some conduit. I'm going to go ahead and use some energy conduit. We also need some pressurized fluid conduit. That should be enough for this. And then probably a power, just to give ourselves some wireless power. Probably one of these. Why not? What are we missing? A few things. There we go. And we're also going to need a card. We always need this link card. I believe down here, so I can just link directly down there. Perfect. Alright, let's go over here to our animals, and this is all we need to do to get this done. Is we just need to place a sewer. Oh, not like that. Don't. Oh, come on, cows. This is where wheat. Vanilla always comes in handy. Come on, cows. You know you want to get out of there. Minus that one, there's that always that one chicken. Always that one guy. We'll put an animal sewer right here. That's going to get some power. Let's actually go underneath. Of course, we got a zombie that's wanting to have some fun. And there is our animal sewer. This guy is going to need a little bit of power. Let's go ahead and set that to output. Put our card in. This will be hooked up to some power. I guess there's a bunch of mobs in here. That'll be hooked up there. That's getting power. That should totally work. We might have to get some range upgrades on it. So I'll do a range upgrade. And there we go. We're starting to get some sewage. So with that sewage, we're going to need another conduit here. And that'll be set to extract. Always active. And we'll just pump that into our sewage composter, which can go right here. And we'll just configure this to insert on that. And the power should be there. And we're already getting fertilizer. So that's simple. We get a chest. I think I have them on me already. Yeah, there we go. So we'll just take this. Yeah, and that should be able to just be able to conduit out. Always active. Oh, I forgot I have a smoker in my hand. I was wondering where these particle effects are coming from. And yeah, we'll just pop this down here. Pop a chest on here. Reach our wrench in here. And set that to insert. And we should have fertilizer. Look at that. So, almost all of those steps pretty much ready to go. They're almost all done. I mean, that's literally what we have to do. Now, to get the other thing that we were working on, which was this right here, we will need the energetic infuser. This is also another way to power machines, just in case you didn't know. Energetic infuser. Shouldn't be too difficult of a machine to make. Need 2 of those. Here. 2 copper gears and reception coil. There we go. So that machine is done as well. And I think I might just remove our repair for right now. By the way, this is just a repair from Cyclic. It repairs like your tools and stuff. But it also can repair your baubles. Some of them. Let's see. Almost all of that is ready to go. It was just this that we were waiting on. Rich slag. In which we were waiting on cinnabar. So that is still doing its thing. What else do we need for this? Oh, sawdust, which we already have sawdust. But we need this. And we can get that from crushing down sandstone. Yes. Literally crushing down sandstone will get us this. Now, Saltpeter Essence. I don't know. Do we have salt? Is this salt dust nitro? We have salt. Let's see. Saltpeter. No. Okay. So we are literally going to take sand, convert it into sandstone, let it crush the sandstone, and hope we get some niter out of that. Look at there. We're already getting some niter, which is great. And that's like a 15% chance, but this is also helping a little bit for the bonus output. It's 185 for pulsating iron. So we have, of course, a higher chance of generating that. Perfect. So that's going to take our rich slag. And we now should be able to upgrade our rich slag into rich phytogrow. And we'll throw that inside here. And that is literally just going to build up some power. And you can, of course, upgrade these machines. But this is going to build up some power, and that's going to get me everything I need. Minus the Botania, which we're going to work on that next episode, I guess, since we've already got this done. And there's our Flux Phytogrow. Guys, that's it. That's all we need for this. So that is a step that is pretty much done. Now, automation for all these probably shouldn't be too difficult to fully set up a automation process for this, considering how automatable all these steps are. Let's check this. Has this finally done anything? So, okay, it has turned into fertilizer, 64 fertilizer, but this is not on always active. That was our problem. It wasn't on always active. So now it's on always active. It's going to drain that. And there we go, replenish. And now we have 64 fertilizer setting here, ready to go for whatever we may need to use it for. Guys, this has been a pretty interesting episode. I hope you guys learned quite a bit. Of course, we are going to be pushing into some more advanced stuff the further along we get into this series. So, I hope you guys stick around. I hope you guys click that like button, and also hit that subscribe button. Click. If you haven't already clicked that subscribe button, you are missing out on potentially being the first one to comment down below. And usually, those are the ones that I see first. So anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next episode. And as always, thanks for watching.